Got a question for you. Have you ever held your children's hands and skipped all the way to school? Well, my next guest has. Dan Mack. Welcome back, Dan Mack. This is part two. We had a lovely chat in part one, and we learned all about Dan and how he lost 6 stone. Yes, 6 stone. And then decided to qualify as a personal trainer. And he's currently doing his level 4 strength and conditioning with us. So in today's episode, we're going to have a little chat more about his thoughts on martial arts and why it's actually really good for confidence to learn a bit of martial arts. And also how everyone, whether you're general population or elite athletes, should learn a little bit of athleticism so that you can skip to school with your children, apparently. So really looking forward to this. I hope you enjoy the episode. You're a martial arts instructor, aren't you? So are you going to be bringing any of that into what you do, the fitness side of things?
Absolutely. Yeah, I already work with a couple of people that are from that side of things that want to dial into their nutrition a bit more and just change their aesthetics and change the way their body's prepared for the exercise. So I've already reached out to a couple of people from the martial arts and the kickboxing side of things, which have already started working with me from the online coaching platform. And I think there's going to be a transference between the two because as people get older, they need not just the physical aspect of the exercise, they need the psychological aspect. And I think there's definitely a transfer across the different disciplines there and the ways that I'll be working that'll be able to help anyone.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't know what it is about boxing, kickboxing, martial arts in general, but everybody kind of wants to know that they can fight if it came to it, don't they? I think it's that like that old expression, isn't it? I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. It's just knowing that you've got some skills just in case. It makes you feel safe, I think, doesn't it? Or safer.
I agree. I think the root of it is yes, there's a level of self-defense, but I think it boils back down to confidence more than anything else. It does in all of the kids that I've worked with, the adults that I've worked with, sort of over the years. I think the biggest thing they've taken away, and the thing that's been most transferable between all ages, health aspects, sexes, has been the confidence that's come off the back of it. People just knowing that they can walk down the street, just feeling that bit more confident, don't have to be scared of everything that's around the corner. Not even necessarily the ability to fight, but I really do like that expression. I think I'm going to steal that one off you.
Well, actually, do you remember when you came to the boxing and pad work workshop and we were chatting about how learning to knock somebody out, you can argue is might have a use one day in an extreme situation, but the biggest thing that I kind of learned from boxing, for example, is actually learning range. So once you learn your range, you can be in a situation where if you're being threatened, you just stay out their range. So you know that if that person does lunge towards you, you're out their range. They're not going to get you, and you just learn to move around and evade. So I think more than anything, actually, just the footwork and the proprioception of awareness of where you are in relation to them and the danger. That was huge for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think there's so much that's transferable from it, isn't there? You've got the hand-eye coordination as well, better balance. It's great for you cognitively, isn't it? So I think yes, there's so much transferably, and there's so much self-preservation involved.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's better to avoid getting hit, isn't it? Going back to when you first decided, yeah, this is something I want to do. I've got this passion for health and fitness. Let's go get some qualifications. Can you remember when you were searching around specifically why you chose Storm Fitness Academy?
I like to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. I like to test things out myself. I like to really look into things before I commit to stuff. I like to make sure that what I'm buying into is worthwhile. I looked at so many different online coaching services. I spoke to people I know who are personal trainers who work in the industry or have obviously got their qualification from somewhere. And I got referred to a few different places, but your name kept coming back up. And after a little bit of a deep dive, and then after, I think you were extremely patient, if I remember rightly. I think that's probably the kindest way I can put it. You were very patient with how many questions I had, and you were quite tentative with sort of making sure that everything was answered. You covered everything off, and then you made it easy for us to do. It worked around my lifestyle, and it wasn't something where you were saying, right, it's got to be like, it's got to be like that. You were very flexible in working with me and making sure that it was right for me at the same time.
Yeah, that's lovely feedback. Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you, Dan. As you're saying that, I was thinking, how would I be different from somebody else? But I know that when I speak to you guys, when you ring up, I'm a teacher, so I'm not a salesman. I'm a teacher, really. I mean, I'm a coach. I'm a sports scientist. I've got various roles, I suppose, for what I do. But essentially, I am a teacher. So when I'm talking to you, my natural instinct is to give you some helpful information for you to take away and action. And so I suppose that's what my goal is when someone speaks to me. So it might be that when you did your shopping around, you spoke to other people as well. That apart from, yes, we have blinding reviews and everyone says some nice things about us, you probably got a feeling when he spoke to me that this guy's just trying to give me some helpful advice. He's not trying to, close the deal and squeeze as much money out of me as possible, which you would get if you spoke to a sales team, I guess.
Yeah, I think that was the difference. It was personable. It was there wasn't any hard sales pitch. It wasn't a buy now or lose out later kind of vibe. It was very much, is this right for you? Okay, let's make sure it's perfect fit. Have you considered this or this? And it was the perfect fit in the end. And I am where I am off the back of it. I've learned so much and it's changed my life.
If you were going to give some advice to somebody else that's starting out today, so maybe somebody that's just died with Storm recently, Liz, it's not always good, is it, to give advice to your loved one? Sometimes that doesn't always work. But have you? How's that been going? Have you given her advice based on your previous
I
experience?
think this is something else where we're a little bit different. We very much believers in constructive feedback for each other and with the little ones as well. If anyone does anything that they do or don't like, or wants someone to do something slightly different, we talk about it. It's very open. So when we talk about fitness, we talk about training, we talk about educating ourselves. As we sit and we have an open, frank conversation, and we get the kids involved as well, because it's important for them to look at how we're looking at things and for them to understand. So yeah, we'll sit and we'll work through things on our own. I'll do my studying, Liz will do her studying. We'll do it at the same time. We'll do it separately, but then we'll talk about it as well. So we'll go on a walk for the school run. We'll go on a walk on the weekend, and we'll talk about what we've learned, how we can apply it, and what's transferable to each other as well. Because we've both got different people that we want to work with and different strengths and weaknesses. I'd say Liz is a lot more personable than I am, although she'll disagree. I think the best way you learn something is by explaining it to somebody else.
When you're talking, then I was thinking I'm going to have to be contacting Dan for marriage guidance. This sounds sounds like I can teach you the health and fitness career stuff, and you can teach me how to communicate with your other half. Sounds like you're nailing that. But maybe you could bring that into your business.
Yeah, there we go. We could offer get fit and have your marriage counselled at the same time. You can maybe have the counselling
Yeah,
alongside a hit session.
yeah. The fact that you've got this understanding that constructive feedback, we're trying to help one another, the intention is good. That's
I think
great.
for us, it's understanding each other's reason why. I said about it earlier. I think everyone needs a reason to do something, whether is internal or external. If you don't have something that's driving you or motivating you, then are you just doing it on a whim or because it's a fad? Are you doing it, or are you doing it because it matters? And for me, I don't want to be unhealthy. I don't want to be unfit. I want to be there and live the best, longest life, the highest quality that I can for my family. Liz wants to be exactly the same. And the reason I started doing my level 4 is because I wanted to understand as much about the body as possible. Our little girl, she's an aspiring professional footballer, and that's what she wants. She lives and breathes football. So for me, the level 4 strength and conditioning was to get as good an understanding as what athletes have to go through and what they have to prepare themselves for, so I can help her as much as possible. And that was the driving force behind me doing it.
I don't know if you've started to get these thoughts, but when you're going through the level 4, because strength and conditioning has pretty much been associated with athletic performance. So a strength and conditioning coach will, prehab an athlete, build a robust athlete so they don't get injured, increase their longevity in the sport, make sure that they're performing in all the metrics that they're supposed to be performing, i.e., agility, power, etc., blah, blah, blah. But do you not find as you're going through the course content that this is all stuff that if we were to train ourselves like athletes, we would just be preparing ourselves for life better? Like even like the speed, agility, quickness type stuff, going over hurdles or going around slalom poles, in between cones, etc. PTs don't typically get their clients doing that sort of thing, but why not? That's going to be a useful transferable skill, especially as a dad running around with your kids or your grandkids.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're hoping grandkids are a long, long way off yet. But yes, I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. I think that's why we use things like reactive lights for the training, for work on agility, balance, reaction times, things like that, just to make it a little bit more fun, but at the same time to work on those things. I'm one for putting myself through it, and I really I should probably take a step back sometimes with my training, but I think there's definitely a level of setting that standard high, pushing people to a good higher level. 'Cause if anything, and they're doing it right, it's only going to put you in a stronger, healthier position later on in life.
All that stuff is fun, like working on your jump height. Someone would argue that that's not necessary for the general population. However, when you get some data back that shows that your jump height has increased by 2 or 3 inches, that feels good. You get a buzz from that. And you just don't know. There might be a situation where you need to jump. I read a statistic the other day that said something like the majority of people don't sprint again after 19 years old, which is crazy, isn't
It
it?
really is, and that's actually one of the best things you can do. We've you might laugh. We've the school run in the mornings. We've taken a route which now goes through a park so that we can skip part of the way to school, just because of how good it is for the bounding, the plyometrics involved, and it's just fantastic for the mind, for the body. You feel it's considered a child's thing to do, but afterwards, how you feel is great. You get that dopamine hit that you get off of that little bit extra in your vertical jump height, that you get off of achieving that new PB. But at the same time, you're actually doing the world of good for your body as well.
Yeah, that's great, Dan. I've never actually, you know what? I've never actually thought about doing it with the kids. I just do it on my own on the way to the pub.
On the
Not,
way
not,
home.
not I do a bear crawl coming back. Skipping, when you skip, you do that triple extension. So I don't know if you've got to this bit in the level 4, but triple extension, the extension of the ankles, the knees, the hips. That's kind of working on being able to do that very, very explosively. Means you jump higher, you hit hard, all that sort of stuff. Skipping is almost like lower intensity triple extension. It's training the triple extension, but without the intensity that a sprint does. So even like somebody that's relatively deconditioned, the general population, you can do a low skip without too much trauma. And then as you get used to that, you can obviously increase the height of your skips, the length of them. So it's almost a lovely way to develop, to kind of transition into sprinting,
I
actually.
think you're absolutely right. I think there's an argument for putting that into training plans. Warm up, get in there, do a little bit of a sprint interval for 50 meters, jog 50 meters, walk 50 meters. It's just going to build up progressively, and it's just going to benefit all the same areas. Especially if you want to run and you want to run faster or you want to sprint, there's no harm in it at all.
And just if for anyone listening, if they're unsure what we're talking about the skipping without a rope, aren't we? So we're not talking about, you guys aren't all in a line. You've got you, the kids, Liz, all of you with the rope all the way to school,
Oh,
tangling up the rope. Oh no!
I think there's a level of using a skipping rope that's actually good for people as well. Because how often do people jump later in life? They stop the sprinting, but they stop jumping as well. And the jumping is fantastic for the joints and the muscle tissue. So actually, skipping is a low impact version of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a fantastic pulse raiser. If people can skip, you'd argue is one of the preferred choices of a pulse raiser because you're indirectly training the rebounding of the ankles, the feet, the ground reaction forces. So you're keeping everything springy. So if you do have to be a bit springy, move a bit quick. You're not going to tear a calf because, 3 or 4 times a week you're skipping your warm
I've
up.
done it for years with the kickboxing, and it's made a difference for me. Balance, agility, coordination. So I agree with it. But you're absolutely right. I was talking about the childish skipping that you do with your friends down through the park, or with your children through the park when no one can see you.
Good clarification. Um, so obviously I mentioned about what sort of advice might you give to Liz, but if someone is starting out today, is there anything specifically you would say to somebody that is maybe even thinking about, they've got this passion that you have for health and fitness, and they're thinking, should I go ahead and get my qualifications in with training? What would you say?
I'd say why are you doing it? And then I think it's getting to the bottom of, if they're doing it just because they want something to do with their time, then is it the right thing for them? But if they're doing it because it's something that's important to them, and they're passionate about it, and there's a driving force behind it, then they should definitely look into it further, because there's too much of society that's sitting back, relaxing, sedentary, spend so much time at desks. Someone described it as driving your desk to me the other day, and I thought, I I get it. They're sitting there. They're sitting at a desk in a chair all day, tightening up their body. And we're not built to be sitting still. We're built to be up, walking around, moving. I think generationally, where have we become? We've become more and more morphed into the shape of a chair. If you look at the person, it's looking at like the shape of a croissant more and more every day, aren't we?
Croissant, nice. Flaky.
Well, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I came off the phone from a lady just before we started this podcast, actually, and she rang up to inquire about doing the qualifications. I get these every now and then, this specific type of person that rings up. She's got no interest in actually turning this into a career. All she knows is that she's really passionate about health and fitness, and she wants to learn more, and she's intrigued to get some qualifications to go with that learning. And I get that every now and then, and I totally understand it. A little while back, quite a while back actually, I did my masters, and at the time, everyone was saying to me, and they're bloody expensive doing a masters, and time consuming and everything else, and everyone was saying to me, "What's it going to do for you?" And I didn't really have an answer, because yes, it qualifies you to work as a strength and conditioning coach for a team or whatever, but I didn't want to do that. I had my business. I'm with you guys. I like what I do. So it wasn't going to get me to do anything. The only answer I had was, I'm really passionate about the subject and I want to learn more. And that is it. So I think, back to what you were saying there, that, why do you want to do this? I think if you've got a passion, it's sort of a no-brainer, isn't it? Just learn some more, explore that passion further. If it becomes something, wonderful. If it doesn't, learning is it's a buzz, isn't it?
That's exactly the reason I did it in the first place. I was practicing martial arts. I was practicing my kickboxing. This was before I was teaching, and I just wanted to know more. I wanted to know more about what I could do differently to make myself better, and then how I could then support other people. And then off the back of that, it's become something which is fantastic, and it's changed my life and our lives. But that's what started me on the journey of doing my level 4 as well, just wanting to know more and being able to help other people. And now I spend every waking minute. I don't listen to the radio in the car anymore. All I do is listen to educational podcasts on the body and fitness and exercise. And people say to me, "Why don't you listen to those things?" I say, "Because this means more to me. This is what motivates me. This is, the more I can learn, the better I can help people, the better I can help myself, and the better I feel."
Yeah, Dan, there's going to be so many people listening to this that resonates with, because I started laughing, because I'm completely the same page with that. There's stuff that, sometimes I'll try and force myself to. I'll give an example. I'll try and occasionally force myself to read like a novel. So I'll be like, I don't know, maybe I should read like a fictional book, so I'm not so one-dimensional, and expand my knowledge base, or whatever. And I'm reading it, and I'm struggling to get through the first chapter, and I end up closing it, and then I'll pick up one of my health and fitness books and start reading that, because that's what I like reading. That's what I like reading about. And yeah, you just can't help it, can you? You want to read stuff about it. You want to listen to podcasts about it. You want to read books about it. It's just who we are.
I've spent a lot of time with some long training sessions where it feels like I'm at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It feels like that's all I need at that point is food, is water, is air. That's it. Just feels like there's nothing else. I'm right in the depths of it, but I'm listening. I'm making the most of it. You listen to those podcasts. You listen to the things where you can learn. I think I've listened to more than enough of your podcasts or watched the videos whilst I've been on a bike or something similar before, and I think that's what matters to me.
My voice.
Well, yeah. Your voice is what drives me along, John. If it wasn't for you, I don't think I'd know what to do.
It's the self-harm, isn't it? You like torturing yourself. You're like, I'm going to put
I,
myself through it with some lactic burning, and then I'm going to burn my ears listening to John bleeding on.
Well, I know at the moment that I'm going to hear your name at least 3 times a week in my life, and especially when your podcast comes out. It's, have you heard this yet? This is out. Come on, have you listened to it yet? And it's it is. I'm either hearing Storm or John, and it's there's nothing else. There's not even Storm, John at Storm. It's just, have you heard John's podcast? This is what John said, and it's that is it. So yes, very much a staple of our life, unfortunately, John.
Oh, that's nice. I feel privileged. So looking ahead, where do you see yourself evolving in the industry, or are you just taking one day at a time? What are you doing?
So we've got whiteboard up on the wall in our kitchen with our short, medium, long-term goals off the back of the smart planning in the in all of the training. Well, we've put goals in there for all four of us. We've got goals in there for a 6-month-old. Here's our sitting up, talking, walking. We wrote them for him. He didn't get to write them himself, but I'm sure he will in time. And then we've got goals on there for 11-year-old, her aspirations for football, what she wants to achieve in the next month, so on. And then we've got ours on there. And ours are to make this more of our life. It's to build a successful company that can help people and change people's lives like it's changed ours by showing people that it's easy to do and that it doesn't have to take wholesale change. It's just one step at a time. And it's growing and making it so that we can invest more of our time into the company, into helping people, rather than it just being something that we do as part of our life, it being all of our life.
Yeah, that's amazing, Dan. I'm looking forward to piggybacking on your success. When when you guys are a household name, I'll be like, he was on my podcast and he did his qualifications with us. I'm looking forward to it. I've got every faith that you're going to go on to do amazing things. People are going to be listening, thinking, I want to know more about this family, this crazy family that skips to school and has goals up on their whiteboard and everything else. Where can they find you?
We are Coached Fit, double T, like the acronym, .co.uk. We will be live on the socials. And then, look us up, get in touch. At the end of the day, it doesn't have to be a case that anyone that reaches out has to work with us directly. It might just be that they're not sure on what they're doing or how they're going to do it. So happy to be a sounding board, happy to work with people. There's no hard sale involved. It's a case of people being able to make changes to their life around their schedule. You don't always need help, even if you just need guidance as to what's free and where you can get a bit of advice out there. I've stolen the ideas and tips off you, John. I'm now going to pass them on down the line.
No, you're very welcome to. That's the idea. Thank you, Dan. Loved having you on the show.
John, thanks for your time. I really appreciate the invite.
Well, there we go. That was part 2 of my interview with Dan Mack. What a quality bloke he is. And what lovely family. You know, him, Liz, the children. That visualization of them as a family skipping through the park to school will never leave my mind. It is a beautiful image. In fact, it kind of reminds me of Rocky 2, where Rocky's running through the streets of Philadelphia and more children are kind of joining on the end and running behind him till there's thousands of children running behind him through the streets. That's what I picture when Dan and Liz and the kids are skipping to school. It's a lovely image. Anyway, if you did enjoy today's episode, make sure you like it, comment, share it with somebody you think might like it too. And you know what I'm going to say next? Subscribe. Enjoy your day. Get some B-roll of you guys skipping to school with me just joining you on the end, skipping with you.
There you go, perfect.
And we just that with some B-roll. It'd be amazing.